Most financial plans do not fail because they are reckless. They fail because they are reasonable. That's the part nobody wants to hear. The plan looks responsible. Spend less, save more, avoid mistakes, wait until things feel stable. And on paper, that sounds smart. But if you follow a plan that only protects what you already have, you may wake up 10 years later and realize it never actually built anything. It only helped you survive more neatly. That is an uncomfortable truth because a lot of people are not broke from bad intentions. They are broke from obeying a version of financial wisdom that was never designed to create wealth in the first place. And if you've been doing everything right and still feel like you're barely moving, this may be the missing piece. Here's what nobody teaches you in school. A plan that reduces damage is not the same as a plan that creates leverage. Those are two different things. One helps you avoid falling behind, the other helps you move ahead, and that's where most people get it wrong. They confuse discipline with strategy, they confuse caution with progress, they confuse being organized with being positioned. A person can have a budget, a savings account, a calendar full of responsibilities, and a very serious attitude toward money, and still have no real path to wealth, because wealth is not created by structure alone. It is created by structure aimed at the right target. Let me tell you about someone. He is careful, very careful. He tracks every expense. He avoids unnecessary purchases. He brings lunch to work. He skips the weekend trips. He says no to almost everything that feels indulgent. He tells himself he is building a future, and in a way, he is, but not the future he thinks, because year after year his plan is mostly defensive. Protect cash, limit spending, stay safe, don't move too fast, don't take risks, don't make mistakes. So he becomes excellent at containing life. But his income barely changes. His investments stay small. His time remains fully sold to his job. His confidence around opportunity never develops because his entire plan is built around avoiding loss, not creating upside. He's not irresponsible, he's not foolish, he's just following a plan that was built to keep him controlled, not wealthy. That happens more than people realize. A lot of financial plans sound intelligent because they are built around restraint. And restraint feels mature, it feels adult, it feels disciplined. But restraint without expansion can become a trap, because if your financial life is only built on reduction, there is a ceiling. You can only cut so much. You can only optimize so far. You can only save your way out of a problem that is actually rooted in limited income, weak ownership, poor positioning, or delayed action for so long. Sooner or later, the truth shows up. You do not build wealth by becoming world-class at shrinking your life. You build wealth by learning when to protect, when to position, and when to expand. That is the mindset shift. The goal of a financial plan is not just to help you feel in control this month, it is to increase your future options. Read that again in your own mind, because once that clicks, you start seeing why so many plans quietly fail. They are obsessed with stability, but indifferent to trajectory. They are designed to preserve, not multiply. They make people feel responsible while time slips past them. Think about the high earner who is still broke. From the outside, this makes no sense. How can someone make that much money and still feel trapped? Because income without a wealth plan often becomes lifestyle fuel. The raises come in, the apartment gets upgraded, the car gets nicer, convenience gets more expensive, the image improves, but the structure underneath stays fragile. No ownership, no real reserves, no investment system, no thought about how today's earnings become tomorrow's freedom. So the person looks successful and remains financially exposed. That is not a money problem alone. That is a planning problem. The plan was never truly about wealth. It was about comfort, image, and reacting to what life demanded in the moment. Let me tell you about someone else. She had spreadsheets, savings goals, monthly targets, rules for what she would and would not spend. She was admired for being good with money. And to be fair, she was. She did not make chaotic decisions. She did not live beyond her means. She was not self-destructive, but she had one silent habit that changed everything. She kept postponing the moves that actually built wealth. Investing could wait until she understood more, Negotiating could wait until the next review cycle. Starting the side business could wait until life felt calmer. Learning the skill that would raise her earning power could wait until she had more energy. Everything important lived in the future. Everything urgent lived in the present. And the present kept winning. That is how many plans fail. Not dramatically, quietly, through endless deferral, through 1,000 reasonable delays, through the comforting illusion that planning to do something later is the same as building it now. It isn't. Because wealth has a ruthless partner, time, and time does not reward intention, it rewards execution, especially repeated execution. That's the hidden mechanism most people never fully absorb. Wealth is often less about brilliance than about getting a few key decisions working early enough and long enough. The reason most plans fail is that they are designed around visible effort, not invisible compounding. Visible effort feels satisfying. Budgeting feels productive. Research feels productive. Comparing options feels productive. Thinking carefully feels productive. And all of that has value. But compounding only responds to action, money invested, skills developed, relationships built, reputation earned, assets acquired, systems automated. These are the things that create acceleration, and acceleration is what most good plans are missing. Here's what nobody teaches you in school. A plan can be emotionally comforting and financially weak at the same time. That is such an important distinction, because many people build plans that reduce their anxiety rather than increase their wealth. They keep extra cash sitting untouched for too long because investing feels uncertain. They stay in underpaying jobs because the routine feels familiar. They over-research simple decisions because they are trying to eliminate discomfort. They say they want freedom, but their plan is built to avoid feeling exposed, not to acquire leverage. And that's where most people get it wrong. They think the best plan is the one that feels safest. But the safest feeling plan is often just the one that asks the least of you psychologically, not the one that produces the best outcome. Now, that does not mean recklessness is the answer, not at all. It means a real wealth plan must include intelligent discomfort. It must ask more of you than basic restraint. It must ask you to act before you feel fully ready, to invest before certainty arrives, to increase your value, not just decrease your spending, to think in years, not just pay cycles, to buy assets before they feel emotionally exciting, to say no to short-term status so you can say yes to long-term control. Think about the person who waited too long to invest. They usually do not look irresponsible. They look cautious, thoughtful, measured. They want to learn more first. They want a better entry point. They want to feel confident. But while they are waiting, the one thing they cannot recover is the years compounding could have been working. Their plan protected them from making a beginner mistake. It also protected them from building beginner momentum. And that trade-off is more expensive than most people realize. Let me tell you about someone. A man who spent years obsessing over small savings, cheaper groceries, cheaper subscriptions, cheaper everything. Again, nothing wrong with that. Waste matters, leakage matters. But one day he was forced to confront a harder truth. His financial life was organized around maintenance, not momentum. He was spending hours protecting tiny amounts of money while ignoring the larger question of how to make his time more valuable. So he changed the plan. Not by becoming reckless, by becoming more strategic. He kept the discipline, but redirected the focus. Part of his money still went to savings, but part went to upgrading skills. Part went to professional relationships. Part went into consistent investing. Part went into buying back time so he could think, build and pursue better opportunities. Within a few years, the results were obvious, not because he found some secret, because his plan finally included engines, not just brakes. That's the practical insight. A real wealth plan needs both defense and offense. Defense is budgeting, reducing waste, avoiding destructive debt, building reserves. You need that. Absolutely. But offense is what most people underbuild. Offense is increasing earning power. Offense is ownership. Offense is investing. Offense is learning how money actually grows. Offense is putting yourself in environments where better opportunities can find you. Offense is using discipline not just to survive the present, but to purchase the future. And the wealthy, whether they explain it this way or not, understand this instinctively. They do not treat financial planning as a punishment system. They treat it as capital allocation. That sounds simple, but it changes everything. When money comes in, they are not only asking, what should I avoid doing wrong? They're also asking, where should this go to become more useful later? That one question separates maintenance from wealth creation. It separates the person who manages money from the person who positions it. Maybe the raise goes into investments before lifestyle expands. Maybe the weekend hours go into a skill that compounds future income. Maybe the safe job gets reevaluated because it is costing too much opportunity. Maybe the emergency fund gets built, yes, but not worshipped as the final destination. Maybe spending gets cut, not as an identity, but as a way to free resources for assets. That is a very different kind of plan. It is alive, it has movement in it. It does not just reduce damage, it creates possibility. And no, this does not mean every plan has to be dramatic. Some of the best wealth plans look boring from the outside. Automatic investing, stable lifestyle, gradual skill growth, intentional spending, patient ownership. But underneath that boring surface is a powerful principle. The plan is not just helping life feel manageable, it is helping life become more optional. That is the real point of wealth, not luxury for its own sake. Optionality, the ability to choose, to leave, to wait, to build, to breathe, to say no without fear, to say yes without panic. A plan that never creates more optionality is not a wealth plan. It is a coping mechanism with spreadsheets, and that may be the line someone needs to hear. Because a lot of smart people have plans that make them feel responsible while keeping them financially static. They are performing discipline without building leverage. They are loyal to habits that look wise but no longer serve the larger goal. They are mistaking financial order for financial progress. So if you want a plan that actually creates wealth, ask better questions. Not just how do I spend less, ask how do I become more valuable. Not just how do I avoid risk. Ask which risks are worth taking because the upside compounds. Not just how do I protect what I have. Ask how do I position what I have so it grows. Not just how do I stay stable. Ask how do I become more free, because that is what a real wealth plan should do. It should make the future larger than the present, not just safer. Thank you for watching Capnex. If this changed the way you think about money, watch the rest of the videos on the channel. Like, share, and subscribe for more content. And before you move on, ask yourself one honest question. Is your current financial plan actually building wealth? Or is it just helping you feel organized while you stay in the same place?